So as we've covered before, Grayzone did magnificent coverage on this. The CIA contracted a Spanish firm called UC Global to spy on Julian Assange while he was in the Ecuadorian embassy, right? We have some developments on this while the extradition hearing is happening. So take a look at this article here. So U.S. prosecutors disrupt Spanish probe into alleged CIA-linked firm which spied on Assange. Right? So this is from outside the Old Bailey, the Central Criminal Court in London. So U.S. prosecutors are reportedly refusing to cooperate with a Spanish investigation into the company accused of spying on Julian Assange while he sought asylum in the Ecuadorian embassy, unless the judge accedes to a list of demands. Once again, this Morales fellow, who's the head of this Spanish firm contracted by the CIA, he's on trial now in Spain, right? So that's how we found out about all of this stuff. So Judge José de la Mata of Spain's High Court is conducting an ongoing investigation into UC Global. The firm was previously in charge of security at the Ecuadorian embassy in London and now stands accused of spying on WikiLeaks founder Assange and passing sensitive information to U.S. intelligence. Now, that is an understatement. If you check out the open letter from lawyers for Assange, again, I covered that in a video. UC Global, okay, they gave up all of Julian Assange's personal effects to the Americans. So not only did they spy on him with secret cameras and microphones, but on top of it, once Julian was arrested, they gave his laptop, his phones, papers, everything, documents, all of it. Not only is that a gross invasion of his privacy, but that's already violated his right to a fair trial. All the stuff that they gathered from spying on him violated his right to a fair trial. They were listening in on his private conversations with his legal counsel, with Jennifer Robinson, with everybody. That's already, I mean, any reasonable judge would throw this entire extradition hearing out the window. It's ridiculous. This is by no means a fair trial. We know that there's evidence that the prosecution are keeping secret, and as I just mentioned, all of his personal effects were handed over to the Americans illegally. I mean, this is insane. It's a bit more than just passing sensitive information. I think that's an understatement. So testimony from witnesses, including former staff at UC Global, alleges that the company's former owner, David Morales, furnished the CIA with recordings and reports of Assange's daily activities and conversations while residing in the embassy. However, the U.S. prosecutors are frustrating the investigation into allegations that the firm spied on the journalist and collected details of his confidential communications with lawyers, politicians, relatives, and fellow journalists. The prosecutors are demanding to know detailed information about the judge's sources, as well as his current suspected recipients of the illegally obtained private information in the U.S. before they will cooperate with the investigation. I mean, this is absurd. You know, they're the ones committing the crimes. They illegally spied on this man. And once again, let me underscore, they didn't just spy on Julian Assange, which is illegal in of itself, but inside of an embassy? Jeez. I mean, they were even spying on embassy staff, not just Julian. Okay? Keep that in mind. Judge de la Mata has asked U.S. prosecutors for the IP, Internet Protocol addresses, of all devices that are believed to have connected to UC Global's server, based in the Spanish city of Jerez de la Frontera from the U.S. This server is believed to have stored all of the illicit recordings made by cameras installed by the firm in the Ecuadorian embassy. It is also where reports detailing each and every one of Assange's visitors, including photographs of their passports and assorted electronic devices, were kept. So, one of the embassy staff, again, forgive me, I forget his name, but he was a really good guy, became very close friends with Julian, and he talked about how, you know, when people would come to visit Assange, they would take their passports and start photographing them. And, you know, that's not typically what happens when you go into an embassy. And guess who's receiving all these scans and photographs? The CIA. So what the prosecutors are now requesting is proof that the requested IP addresses are relevant and substantial to the investigation. I think that's ridiculous because whatever you tell them, whatever you tell the Americans, if you even decide to comply, they're going to be like, oh, well, that had nothing to do with us, so we can't help you. Goodbye. They're stonewalling the whole thing. This is obscene, you know. Once again, you see that even Western European countries who are purportedly allies of the United States, when it comes down to it, they're really not. You either toe the imperialist line, you toe Uncle Sam's foreign policy, or they will stonewall you. That's the way it is, you know, and no one can escape that. Not the UK, not Australia, not Spain, no one. I love how they've also given them a deadline. Furthermore, the prosecutors have demanded answers to their questions before October 16, or else they will assume that Spanish authorities are not interested. Oh, so now they are playing hardball. I see. They really got stones, man. Honestly. It should be the other way around. You know, the Spanish foreign ministry, the Spanish courts should be warning the Americans, if you don't comply with our legal investigation, we will do such and such. Not the other way around. This is obscene. Morales, again, David Morales is the head of this UC Global, or was, a former military serviceman, was exposed in 2019 and is currently under investigation for violating attorney-client privilege and privacy, as well as other related charges of bribery and money laundering. Another point that I'd like to raise here, and this is a consistent theme that you will find with the Americans, is that whoever works with them always gets stabbed in the back. Okay? Remember that. It's real. You know, look at Saddam, for example. You know, they sold him all those chemical weapons, right? You look at the Kurds, for example, in Syria, receiving logistical and military support from the Americans. And then, all of a sudden, the U.S. is pulling out of northern Syria, right? Not northeastern Syria, so Hasake and then Deir ez-Zor, where the oil is. But, you know, they pulled the rug out from underneath them. That's a consistent theme. And same with this guy, right? He thought that, he's protected because he's working with the CIA, and he was even boasting about it. If you go and read the article, you'll see. It turns out they left him out to dry. So just remember that. It's a very interesting theme, a recurrent theme that you see. But this is preposterous. I mean, the United States is not just overstepping, putting it mildly. They're not just completely violating and making a mockery out of any kind of semblance of international law, of the sovereignty of other countries, you know, when it comes to the UK, bringing their laws all the way into UK courts to try and get Assange. And violating his privacy and spying on him. I mean, any court in the world would throw this case out. You spied on this guy and his lawyer? You already denied him the right to a fair trial. Any judge would throw that out. Not to mention the persecution, the witch hunt itself, right? But now on top of it, they're threatening the Spanish, like, if you don't give us information, we're just going to assume you're not interested. That's the way it is. Like mobsters, man. Like mobsters. You know, once again, they talk about democracy, they talk about rule of law. Quite the contrary. When it comes down to it, if you expose their crimes, you show the true face of their imperialist war machine, all of that goes out the window. Fair trial? First Amendment? What? Never heard of that. We're coming after you. Insane. Really is insane. To be a U.S. ally is to be their dog. That's what it is. Make no mistake. So just thought I'd bring you up to date on that. And by all means, definitely go read the Grayzone article. Magnificent read. Some really crazy shit that they did. The lengths that they went to spy on Assange is nuts. And I covered it in a video, so if you'd like a video form of that, definitely watch that.